What he said, what she said, what they said. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Gender Talks. I'm your girl Cash Money,
And I am Pat. What's
and
up?
today we're going to talk about tonight, whenever you tune it in, whatever, we're going to talk about the current state of America and what's going on. So if you've been in your bubble, as Pat likes to say, your
In my
silo,
bubble.
your personal bubble. Couple things have happened. Unfortunately, fortunately, I guess depending on how you look at it, multiple things happened throughout the day. I don't think we had one day where something ain't happened. So just to catch y'all up real quick, the
Oh,
latest the latest thing that has happened is they actually passed a continuing resolution. We still don't have a full budget, but the Democratic Party is up in arms because Chuck Schumer and 10 other Democrats went the other way. And the breaking issue or whatever is we texting classified information on average phone apps.
so
Like that's
seriously,
as simple as the way I can put it.
so seriously, so let me break them two down for me real quick. And I don't mean to cut you off because we gonna keep going, but for me, real quick, yo, Chuck Schumer got he like Nancy Pelosi. Both of them, Nancy Pelosi held on too long. Chuck Schumer trying to hold on too long, right?
I don't think so. Cause even she spoke out against him and was like, I don't now, and I agree with her. She said she don't give nothing away without getting something. She
Right.
she was a little bit
That's
more.
what I'm saying. I I'm saying the dude he, he needs to get out of the way only because he had 10 defections under him. That's all I'm saying. You supposed if we need to do this thing party lines wise, which I say we because I ain't I don't hide nothing. I vote Democratic, right? I'm not a my vote is a hidden secret.
Right.
I'm voting Democratic.
Well, I think it was the messaging. So let's be clear. Since the election, the Democratic Party has fractured their loss. They trying to
Yeah,
figure out, they don't know which way is up, for
yeah,
lack of a better term.
yeah.
So, in knowing that, they allowed the Republican Party to brainwash, hidden message, Jedi mind trick them that if the government shut down, it was going to be their fault.
No fault. Yeah, I saw that and I was like, how? I saw an article titled that, right? And I didn't even click onto it because I was like, there's no way. But then
Because in all actuality, all three branches of government currently are Republican led. So if the government would have shut down, it would not have been on the Democrats. But the thing of it is so you want to make it to be on the Democrats when you had several Republicans that didn't even want to vote for the continuing resolution.
they I don't know what the Republicans did to
So
be able to do that
I don't
shit.
know
Like
how they got that fugazi to make
they got
you
that
feel take ownership of something that wasn't even
it
yours.
wasn't even yours. Wasn't even yours, and you know it straight up. I don't and for me, I'm gonna say it's some powerful magic afoot. The Republicans using this magic somehow. I don't know how they doing that shit because they bewitched them. They bewitched the Democratic Party to take that, and it was like, ain't no way. How the economy is tanking, right? This is what I'm
So
looking
what
at.
did you get? So you voted for that, and what did you get? To Nancy Pelosi's point, Chuck. I'm gonna just say it because I ain't scared. Chuck Schumer, what did you get for that? Because you basically just there was no resistance, which is what people in the Democratic Party are calling for at this moment. They know you don't control Congress, but they want to see that you are doing something other
What?
than just let me vote for it because
Hey,
what are you doing?
Cash. What's the point of this? What's the point of this? What was the point of this? What was the point of this? If you say, because the Democratic Party said back in the day they said they was down with this, right? So if you know what this is, then how you just gonna do that? Uh,
So I have a question for you since you said you vote
yeah,
Democrat and I'm not having my vote. It's no secret. I'm not a fan of Trump.
yeah,
However,
yeah.
so what do you want the Democratic Party to do going forward? What would you like to see from the Democratic Party or any
Simple.
elected official, not even if it isn't the Democratic Party? What do you want them to see to do? What do you want to see from them? Sorry, what do you want to see from them?
Uh, I want to see proper accountability. And what I mean by that is they got to hold themselves accountable for what they did. Those 10, right? And Shermer and a lot of, but they also need to stop pandering and say, you are responsible Republican, you are responsible conservative. You said day one egg prices were going to go down, period. And they
And I
did
would
not.
say, the Republicans, as you said, Jedi mind tree sorcery, they are really good at their messaging of I don't know who they got, they strategists, whoever they are really good about their branding and their messaging of where to place the blame. Even when
Cash,
to the point
cash.
of the
Uh,
classified text thing, ain't nobody taking accountability for that. They done matrix the hell out
how
of
is
that.
they right? How they matrix? How did nobody see? I'm gonna take this back a couple of weeks. How did nobody see that that was an ambush on President Zelensky? How are they not seeing? Is because they Jedi mind tricking Democrats asses all day. Got gots to be. And they doing it to us as Democratic voters because everybody that voted Democratically, you can hold your vote to yourself. But if you voted Democratically, they're doing it to us.
So I'm gonna say something, and I want you to tell me if you agree
Huh.
or not.
Mm.
I think Democrats
You're both my sisters on. I got two sisters, y'all, with the same
play
name. I, I
um
got, but go. Hold on, I'm just saying. I got this is good because I got to get my birth sister on the episode with us too, and we gonna go win. But anyway,
going.
go.
I feel like the Democratic Party is transactional, whereas Republicans play the long game. Would you agree?
Just truth. That truth, because they had to. They, if you go all the way back to the beginning of the United States, they had to. And I say they had to is because it switched. This party switched, right? So I'll say the racist party had to switch and rebrand. They had to do the rebranding because if the party switched, right, the thought switch, they had to rebrand. The racists learned to rebrand. They learned to rebrand way back then. That's the thing. And so they've been rebranding that shit, racism, ever since. And they doing a good job now, man.
So you talking about Republicans?
Yeah, they doing a good job. Democrats
Yeah,
on the
because like you said, a lot of them left the Democratic Party when they decided Democrats that no, racism is wrong. We're not going to be, even though initially they were for all of that.
right,
Let's be clear. If you follow history, the Democratic Party was all with slavery,
racist.
and
Mm-hmm.
that was the basis for the Civil War. You look all of that up.
Mm-hmm.
Library card, message,
Library card. Library card.
message. But so back to my original question, in saying that from the standpoint of being a Democratic voter,
Yeah.
what do you want to see in this point in time from them? So you said the stop parenting because we know they don't control
Protest.
Congress.
Period. Period.
So,
Protest. I want them actual protest, not the we standing on the steps of the Capitol and we're talking like this and we're all doing the drone chanting, right? Nah, I want a Dr. King moment of walking across, the Edith Pettus Bridge, right? That's
The
I want
Edmund Pettus Bridge. You need to
Edmonds Pettus Bridge, Edith Pettus, Edmonds Pettus. Look, but I'm just saying, I want this. I want an actual protest, right?
resistant.
Because I want resistance, right? Because if we go out and if now the way they're setting it up, the way Trump and them are setting up protests, they're setting up protests is you can't assemble as me and you just getting in, me, you, and a bunch of people saying we're gonna have a protest today. Used to be able to, right?
So okay, so my question is, you want them to protest,
I
but
want
what comes out of that protest? Because and I say that because with all the stuff that was going on with the Doge and the federal employees and people losing their jobs, they were protesting. All that was done, but yet and still, you still had 10 Democrats vote for a continuing resolution when they could have, to me, and people might not like it. I understand. So first and foremost, former fellow federal employees. Um, when the government shuts down, some people have to work without getting paid.
I knew you were gonna say.
However, there was a law enacted by Congress. When they fund the government, all those employees will get back pay. So I say that to say this. As a federal employee, I still would have rather your ass voted to shut this shit down.
Down. That's what should have happened. Period.
Because at least I would know you were standing on somebody's business and said, y'all got to come see me and concede something.
Down, right? Shut it down.
So I say that to say they protested, but you still had 10 people vote for a budget. So to me, the protest was meaningless. It didn't have any meaning behind it. So in asking you, okay, protest and then what? What does that really look like? Do you want them to physically protest or do you want them to protest with a vote?
What has to happen is they got to protest with a vote and they got to physically protest. Because here's the thing about the other side and politicians. If a politician get assaulted, now it's an issue. So there have to be politicians that are willing to, I might physically get assaulted, right? And nobody wants that to happen, but it always takes something drastic, right? So the reason why I'm not saying they have to be physically assaulted. I'm saying they need to physically be present at a protest.
They don't want to do that because
put yourself no, but you got to, because that's what MLK did. That's what Malcolm did. That's what our ancestors did. That's what the men and women that went to vote at the voting stations, they had to know how to read and had to go through all this. That's what they did it for.
Well, guess what? So, your president and his folks gonna call y'all domestic terrorists. Y'all keep it up.
And that's the thing that we're letting keep happen. If we had shut the government down, what happens then, Kel? I'm sorry. What happens then? What happens then? All the stuff that's supposed to be going on doesn't go on.
Did you see? So in all of that, because you let that pass. Yep. So now we're bullying university. So you're trying to dismantle the Department of Education. You're gonna gut it, even if it remains. You made Columbia and them concede.
Are we right? Are we not seeing the setback? Are we not seeing the
on setback? Their campus? You can't have a mass. So if you're not aware, Trump threatened Columbia University with pulling federal funding if they didn't concede certain things. So the things that they had to concede, that they would ban protests, they would ban masks, they replaced the department heads of their minority departments, the Asian American, the Arab American, and the African American department heads were replaced to keep getting their funding from the federal government under Trump.
And here's the thing. Their messaging is so good that the news can report it, and yes, it is bad as it sounds, and people still go.
And so the next thing
I,
that's on, and I agree with you that there's got to be something, because the next thing that's going to be on attack, they're already attacking the First Amendment. The education, they trying to pull the education. They are now trying to pull federal funding for the broadcasting radio agencies, NPR and PBS.
so y'all can't. So if libraries, right? NPR, also National Public Radio, and PBS are the most important. I don't care what anybody says. They're the most important pieces of your life as an American citizen. NPR, PBS, and a library, right? Because they already we because of that vote, they're continuing to shut down the Department of Education. Everything that was fought for up to 1979 to get the Department of Education instated, you just let this motherfucker shut this down. You let him shut that down, but you didn't vote to shut. You didn't let the government be shut down. I mean, honestly, like how are we in this, like how are they how are they living in their lives in their head? What made that okay? That's why I'm mad at the Democratic Party, because it's all of them. And I know there are those in the party that are probably saying the same thing that I'm saying, right? But those 10, hey, it's something suspect about you. And I'm not saying, I am saying it's something suspect about you for you not to get with the agenda of we're not voting. We're not shut it down.
Because FYI, well, they passed the resolution till September 30th. So there's another opportunity come September 30th to make some demands of this government
Right, right.
to
Okay.
get things that people are asking for. You cannot, and I'm going to say this, we cannot only allow or sit back and wait on the judicial system, because not every court case is going to go the way that you want it to go. We've seen that. And I'm going to say this, as Black people, we know the judicial system does not go the way we want it to. Even when there's all the evidence in the world, you still don't convict people. It is what it is.
Uh,
So if you're sitting back waiting on these cases, which a lot have been effective, because again, as I said before, the Republicans are playing the long game. They want all this shit to go to the Supreme Court. They want it, so
they want it all. They want it all to go there. Cause then when the Supreme, cause they know what he knows, the game he playing. He knows the shit he doing. He knows he doing illegal shit. He knows he continued them flights, and he knows that when that judge said turn them flights around, it was supposed to happen, but he still did it anyway. And then said, well, they flew out our airspace, it's out of our jurisdiction. Them people disappeared. The ones that were supposed to be under protection by the United States government. Why would you think? Here's a question. I got a real question for you.
For me or the people,
For
everybody.
the people, for everybody, right? Anybody that has ever watched gangster movie, and this goes to my gangster movie, because I'm a big Scarface fan. Like I growing up, I hit this spot, and I could watch Scarface every weekend, right? I can watch it many times. But if you are into gangster movies or gangster the mob and gangster stuff like that, right? Um, how do you think these people came to power?
By taking shit,
What
hijacking shit, taking shit. They took shit.
okay. Now, do these people exist for you? Yeah. Do they exist on the other side? Yeah. Right?
So
Now,
somebody got to be more cutthroat than the other one. Or
right.
as we used to say, and I'm finna date my age, if you a 90s person, 90s, then we used to say, who's more bout it, bout it. I want to know who bout it, bout it.
Now, I was watching something funny and it made me think about it. Like Mace was talking about ugly ugly niggas and pretty boys or whatever, right? He was like, why does every ugly nigga think he can whoop a pretty boy's ass just because that's a pretty boy, right? Like pretty boys ain't tough too, right? And then
Right.
vice we supposed to automatically think because you ugly, you
You
it's
can't fight. You're not
right,
hard.
you can fight, or because you
You
pretty
had an
you can't.
easy life.
You got it's just whoever is the most about it. So now that's who always wins. That's whoever win an argument. And when you was arguing with your husband, when you were married and you argue with your husband, who won the fight? Who, whichever one of y'all was the most about it, whatever the topic was, right? Now, we going outside the physical, right? In a marriage, but I'm saying who wins a war? Who wins a negotiation? If you want to talk about that, whichever one is the more about it. So now we in a situation where we the little guy politically. But I've always grown up as a little guy. I'm short.
You
I'm
got, I
little
mean, your
shorty.
back always been against the wall.
My back has always been against the wall.
It's like you said, growing up, it's the thing. When you go to school or if you the new kid, everybody gonna mess with you and pick on you till you
Until
show
what?
them you ain't to be fucked with.
I ain't no punk.
Once it only take one time for you to knock somebody out, and then ain't nobody fucking with you after
Ain't
that.
nobody gonna mess with you.
Nobody gonna fuck with you after that. It take one time.
Take it takes one time. And this is the thing about the Democratic Party. And I say that's why I say you gotta stay. We expect it from our husbands, wives, exes, baby daddies, providers, warriors, selves in a sense, right? You got to stand 10 toes down for something. At some point, yes, a actual politician needs to come outside and stand 10 toes down with us. Has to. You cannot protest. You cannot what happened in 2020 is sit behind the desk and let Trump fire on people, tear gas, just so he could go across the street and hold a Bible.
That he don't even ain't
That
even
should have
looked in.
that shit right there, Kel. That shit should have set the nation off. That one. COVID, but during COVID, George, think about how scary it was. But at the same time, we knew we was getting shit done. Is during that time when all the George Floyd protests was going down. Them motherfuckers was scared. They was so scared that they pardoned that little kid for shooting them people.
Mm-hmm.
That they had
Oh,
jump. They had jump. Listen, Kel. I really want the viewers, I want everybody to get it. They had jump squads. And what I'm talking about jump squads is unmarked van pulls up to you, puts you in a unmarked van, unmarked people, right? Puts you in the van and drives you away. We know they had them. It's been reported.
so you saying we gotta do something?
Yeah. No wait, I saw something again on TikTok, right? I don't be scrolling that much, but when I do, I remember what I see. I saw something that said early 80s, 90s babies, No Limit had us out here screaming, "We No Limit soldiers," right? Yeah, we out here no limit, like we need to be about it.
And we in the era of Dr. King, we are those ages or past those ages now.
Heck yeah,
But clearly,
like there was progress. There was so much turmoil, but progress that was gonna happen if we had just stayed on that track, right? And
I think we are in the midst of our own civil rights movement.
you think so?
I think so.
That's a good one.
Unfortunately,
Let's keep that moving. Um, I'm gonna go ahead and do the outro because that was a good one. Let's talk about that one. That's the next. We're gonna make this a part two. We in our own civil rights movement. I like that.
so what are you? So real quick before we move, or do you want to transition down into a part two as well
I,
about the classified documents?
Yo, we can talk about
on the
this.
text messages. Let me.
Go ahead. Go
I'm
ahead. Go
gonna
ahead. Go ahead.
send
Go
you
ahead.
some classified information on Google, on WhatsApp via text message, on
No,
Facebook Messenger. I'm
and
gonna DM you on Instagram. So
I'm not gonna check the list. I'm not gonna check to see if it's going to who it's going to. I'm not gonna do that because I just assume.
anybody
I think you check.
else, I'm gonna just say this for those of you who are non-military affiliate, and what I mean prior veterans, prior service members, spouses, children who have no understanding of the military. Anybody else who would have sent some classified information
You would be in
on
Sing
an
Sing, Fort
unclassified,
Leavenworth, The Hague. You be everywhere. You be under the jail.
you would be relieved of your command. You've been done reduced in rank, lost some pay, some extra
Oh,
duty.
oh, extra dude, you owe the
Out the
government. Yeah,
military, even.
you know the government your body physically. Like like we just take your life for that one. Of us, any of us, leaked one I I statement. Look, release one part of something that was classified. Okay, I'll say this. I'll in my government contracting, right? In my role, I was supposed to take this person's personal info, their resume, and evaluate it, right? I was so paranoid about the classified. This is after I'm out of the military. I'm so paranoid after the classified materials training that I got, right? That, and I was a privacy professional. That I took this person's things home, and I realized I took them home from the office, right? And I was so panicked that I typed a resignation letter and walked in the next day and handed it to my boss, and he was like, "What are you talking about? You were supposed to evaluate that." Ripped it up, and I was like, "Oh crap." And I was like, "I'm sorry, it was classified information. I'm a privacy professional." He was like, "Dude, it's part of you." Like I was so you get what I'm saying?
Of
So
course, I already
stressing
know
out.
you get briefings. You get all kind of briefings and briefings and briefings and briefings and annual training and annual training.
I
But
was
I'm
ready to
more concerned.
resign.
I think it was intentional, but I'm more concerned with the fact
Oh, it was intentional.
ain't nobody being held accountable. Y'all ain't even taking no accountability, saying I fucked up about it.
Why?
The one person did. Y'all
That's
added
one.
a whole journalist. And now y'all want to bash him as if he just randomly stumbled into your fucking group chat. Let's
That's why.
be for real. Somebody had to add him. He
It
didn't
was
add
50.
himself to the damn
Yeah,
group chat.
they're seeing how far they can push the envelope. Trump is a 34-time convicted felon as our president.
Well, I'm just trying to put this in perspective for the people. Let's think about it.
Go ahead.
Somebody had to create the group chat and add people. Most group chats, the creator is the only one that can add people to the group chat. So the journalist didn't add himself. So he didn't add himself to the group chat.
Yeah.
He didn't add himself. Somebody mistakenly added him. I'm not going, it might be a mistake, unintentional. I don't know if that part was intentional or not. Adding him to the group chat and y'all talking about classified information. Thank the Lord he had enough sense to say, I don't think I'm supposed to be here. Let me remove myself so they can check to make sure. Because two things could have really happened. He could have stayed and told all the secrets and endangered some lives.
And been going to jail if they decided to prosecute him, right? Or he could do what they tell us, which is as soon as that shit happens, hey, I
All
gotta
got
report it.
reported.
Now you got to, by law, I gotta report it.
But the fact that y'all sitting up there, well, I don't know. You got to ask the Secretary of Defense. What you mean? Was you on a class? Was y'all sharing classified information or not?
Or not.
Be
And how
truthful.
you
Own
the
your
secretary?
shit. Even if you wasn't the originator of it, that's just what I'm saying. If I create a group chat You on the group chat, several other people on the group chat.
Hey,
It's
you know what's
I asked
another?
somebody and they ain't supposed to be there, but they
I'll
come
say this.
ask you, Pat, were y'all sharing government secrets? I don't know. You got to ask this person.
Hey,
Why do I got
hey,
to ask this person?
you
You
want
was
to know
on the
what's another?
chat.
You want to know what's another end-to-end encrypted platform that common people use every day, and it's encrypted just like whatever they're talking about is whatever it was, Striker, whatever they was on. Um, WhatsApp is encrypted just like that. So it's
But it
not.
ain't secure. And WhatsApp
What I'm
just
that's what I'm that's the point I'm trying to make is you use WhatsApp and WhatsApp is supposed to be secure, but it's not. But they use the same. It's the same type of deal, and they were talking classified information over WhatsApp basically.
but my
And then
issue, even beyond that, my issue is now when it's out there and they're coming to ask you, you can't even be honest, even if
no,
you're not the creator.
no.
Again, Pat, you on the chat. I created the chat, but they come ask you, was there sensitive information? I don't know. You got to ask. We already know you was in the chat. Why can't you just say yes or no? Period. Yes or no. Pat.
Yes, they're not gonna do it.
Because then they become complicit to doing illegal activity. So guess what, American people? They saving their own ass at the expense of our national security and military members' lives. So I don't care if you voted for Trump for his economic policies or immigration. Do you want somebody you potentially know to lose their life for incompetence? That's the question I'm gonna put out there.
Because that is incompetence. No matter how you look at it, no matter who you are.
Are you
Hey,
okay
hey,
with
hey, hey,
somebody
hey,
you know losing
yo,
their life for incompetence?
it was hey, you know what it was though? You know why? You know what it was? It was DEI. It was a
They
DEI
definitely,
hire.
they
A
definitely
DEI
were some
hire.
qualified people to get the position. Cause guess what? When that black man was up there, we ain't had no shit like this happening.
Nah, preach, girl. And
I'm
it's
just saying.
and this is
So
this is facts.
so
This is
who's less qualified and who's not? We ain't had no security
there were there were
classified breaches.
yes there were there were those like phishing attacks and stuff like that. But within from internal government wise, there were no issues.
That black Secretary of Defense didn't have that shit popping
There
off.
were no issues.
Just
Or
saying.
there were no, you know what? I can't say there were no reported issues like that that got out to the public where they did it. But they'll say, well, there
Well,
were
they
issues
wasn't using
because
no
we
other.
know, yeah,
Well, they
we
wasn't
know
using WhatsApp either to
they weren't
communicate
using
because they know better.
WhatsApp.
They know better.
Right, right. Dang, I, ain't no way, ain't no way, ain't no way. If you were a sane person, that you would be like, oh, classified information. They was talking to war plan. Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
Oh,
Ain't no.
and I want to say for them same people that was outraged about Hillary's emails when all that happened, I need y'all to have the same energy and the same outrage now because this was 10 times worse
No,
than
that
what
was
y'all thought Hillary's emails
no,
was.
that was different. That was different.
It wasn't different.
Well, yeah, it was. That was
They
different.
they said she
She,
had
she,
classified documents on the unsecured server
yeah, but that
email.
was yeah, but that was Pizzagate. That was they. She was talking about eating kids and all kinds of other stuff. The
But
she
I'm
was
just saying they was outraged
no,
about her
it was different. It was different.
having
It was different.
leaking classified information.
It was different. It was different for
I
Trump
need
because he was president.
this is leaking classified information to unknown sources. I need y'all to have the same outrage. That's all. That's it. No discussion, no debate. Have the same outrage. As mad as you was about Hillary's emails talking about lock her up, guess what? Lock their ass up too, because they own some other stuff. They could have cost people their
And
lives.
on the next episode, what reality do we really want to see? Because go taking it back to fantasy and reality, we need to we need to start working on this reality because that fantasy is
Delusions. And they are not of grandeur.
How
Pay
you gonna
attention, people. Pay
hey,
attention,
hey,
people.
I asked you this one question. How you gonna shut down the Department of Education? But them loans, them loans gonna get taken on by somebody else. They
The
don't get
state, your
no, but
state
I'm saying
gonna collect.
he said he gonna put it under the Treasury Department. He gonna put them loans under the Treasury Department.
You know what they gonna do? Which they been newsflash. Y'all
What?
won't be getting no tax refunds if they do that, and you
They
don't
not
pay them
never
students
not finna get a tax refund. We finna be paying. You gonna owe taxes because you don't make enough money.
to pay your student loans.
Watch. Watch. No. I'm saying if they keep letting them go, if they keep letting their agenda get in place, we the American people gonna be making $20,000 a year and paying 10,000 of that in taxes.
All I'm gonna say is they talked about it all last year and the year before. And we
Hey,
talked about it on here as well.
what do you say, Jedi
Project
mindset?
2025.
What preach? What did you say? What did you say from the last episode to this episode? And we're gonna keep going. What did you say they did? It was some kind of what? Some kind of magic, some kind of Jedi
Matrix,
mind trick.
Jedi mind trick,
Matrix.
voodoo.
It is wild. Come on now, people. This reality that we are, this delusion that we're calling reality. That's why I be like, that's why I told you I be in my bubble. That's all. When I go out my bubble, okay.
Get your library card, do some reading, do your own research. We are not a news outlet. We are just giving our opinions. But I'm just saying, trying to break it down for y'all.
That
It's
shit
right
wild.
there in black and white.
It is. Oh. It is.
You can see it for yourself. So yeah, we're gonna have a part two. We're gonna pick it up about, are we in our own civil rights era,
Yes.
specifically for black people? Because guess what? Black history is American history, and we can talk about that 365 days a year.
What?
Just saying.
Get your
So
love. Get your
thank you
library.
for tuning in to us. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe.
Right. Yeah, share. I was gonna say repost, but share and share alike and tap in, because
Tune in.
yeah,
If you
it's
want to see
becoming
our faces, you can see us on YouTube. If you
the
just
more
want
y'all tap
to
in, the more
stream,
y'all tap in, the more energy that we get. Because I feel like where we're at now, from where were at when we first started last year, like the energy and the conversation and the stuff is evolving, but that's
evolving and
only
growing.
evolving because we're growing and the audience is growing, right? And we all evolving together. So
And we
come
want to
on,
continue to evolve and
keep,
grow with
keep
you.
tapping in for real. I gotta get there are things that I'm saying that talking to myself too. There are things that I gotta get tapped into that I gotta keep tapping in, keep tapping in. Cause we gotta do it because that these mugs ain't being held accountable, ain't being accountable, taking us back years when we trying to go forward. And the
We'll
only
talk
thing to do,
about it because remember, I brought that up in another episode. So we'll catch the people back up. All
love y'all.
right, we're going to wrap it all back in the next few series. Again, we try to give y'all something light, not too heavy because, we want to be the light in what some people may see as the darkness.
I
And to
say,
me, you can't be
love
light
y'all.
if you're not real and if you're not honest. Living in delusion is not light.
That's the other question I want to ask you. We got that's going to be an episode. If staying in our bubble, do we actually get to be real? And that goes back to my conversation about the baby and her new friends and my walk and all that.
So
Are we
tune in.
not
If you
being
didn't
real?
catch it, tune in.